This is the strategic planning retreat for the city of Cottonwood, and we do this once a year. We meet together toward the end of the year and get a strategic plan together for our manager, kind of his marching orders. And every other year, when there's an election, we have a new council seated. We do a more robust planning session where we bring in some of the heavy hitters in the Verde Valley, and that's who you are. So our community partners, our nonprofits, executive directors, et cetera, to come in and speak with us about some of the challenges that you face and opportunities for the city of Cottonwood to help assist in your efforts. So that's why you're here. And this is really the last panel of the day. It's been kind of a long day for us. We've had a lot of great presentations. But at the end of the day, we wanted to kind of hear from some of the real boots on the ground folks here in our community. And so we have a panel of four. We have representatives from Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce, our D&O Crane, one of a longer operating businesses in the area, of course, Foothills Bank and Old Town Association. And each one of you representing these organizations today have really got your hands on a lot of different enterprises throughout the city. And so you've been here a long time. You've been on boards and commissions and served a lot. So we just wanted to kind of open it up to you to speak with us today. We just appreciate your time. Let's start with Christian from the Chamber. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for having me and council members. Appreciate the time. I am getting a share request here so I can put some information up on your screen. And if you bear with me, we will get that. Support local is what we are talking about this afternoon. And it's been an interesting ride that we've been on recently with COVID. The shutdowns have definitely thrown our business community for a loop, and it's been a struggle. But we are seeing people that are doing well, adapting and pivoting, and we as well have had to do some adapting and pivoting at the Chamber, as you're all aware. And in that process, we've discovered some information about ourselves as an organization. So building on that and moving forward, we have some ideas and looking to expand our partnerships with the city and other organizations. And one of the moves that we're looking to do in the very near future here is to open a satellite office for our visitor center in Old Town, downtown. We're looking at the building right next door to the old BAC office. So moving forward with that, the idea, and we've talked to Tricia on this and how we could really leverage that location to expand our numbers, but also to support our local businesses in the Old Town area, but not just there. We think with the visitation that we will have to that destination, we'll be able to also direct people to all of the other wonderful things that we have to do and see here in Cottonwood. One of the things that we talked about was being able to be out on the street to greet the people right there on the sidewalks and interact with them and direct people. One of the ways we would do that is with some of the rack displays, being able to present and promote chamber members as well as other businesses in the Old Town area. The majority of the businesses in Old Town are already chamber members, but part of the construction build out is going to take a little bit of time and energy. And as you know, with COVID, we have seen some supply chain issues. So we have worked together. We are working on getting slot wall that will be able to hold brochures and whatnot in the area, as well as racks, and be able to sell some merchandise downtown. Another area that we want to expand, we know we have a little kiosk at the end of the street there by the jail that has information about events as well as map of all of the merchants. So we're also wanting to have some sort of outdoor feature, especially for after hours, that people could get information about events weatherproof, locks up, so hopefully we won't see any vandalism or anything like that. So another area to expand on that. The way I see this potential office working for us, part of our strategic plan and idea was to establish a local concierge, if you will. What we've discovered during this time is that we started receiving a lot more local visitors, and many people came into the office and had no idea what we had to offer or what we really did. And the change that we've seen over the months is that some of our partners that are out on the main intersection where we used to be actually are more aware of our new location and have actually been sending people to us. Giant gas station's a perfect example of that. People stopped in there to get gas, and we're sharing with the clerk, what they wanted to do or what they could do in the area. And they, pointed out some things, but they also said, hey, right around the corner, why don't you go down and see the Chamber of Commerce in the visitor center? So I'd like to establish a Tourism 101, a way for us to educate the public on why tourism is a big part of our economic driving, and promote that through a partnership with I was able to sit in and watch the segment on tourism with Heather Herman and Teresa Propek and Michelle Conway, Paula. That was very enlightening, and I'm excited to be working with them as well and potentially do this kind of public information thing. We obviously want to share that we are safe, clean, and ready. And Yavapai County also has a program, Yavapai Safe, as well as the state, I think, is catching on a little bit after the fact. Thanks to Sedona for putting that Safe, Clean, and Ready program together and sharing it with us all. Some of the other ideas is, promoting the local businesses, highlight a business of the week in that location. We also have struggled a bit with our volunteer base. They're in that higher risk category. I'm hopeful that we can establish partnerships with a lot of the merchants downtown and maybe get them to volunteer a little bit of time, maybe an hour or two a day or in a week or whatever will, accommodate their business hours. We are doing and have already begun a radio campaign as well as newspaper and social media, highlighting the visitor center as the first place to stop, enhancing the marketing, destination marketing that the city has been doing, about pushing are there up for that? Increasing our community and business outreach. I think it's really important, especially during these times. How are we going to promote local and build on that? We think that through our visitor information center, again, we're able to push our businesses and including the local community to realize that there is a good resource here. I don't know if anybody or any of you still use phone books. We actually have phone books here. One of the more common things that fly off the shelves, believe it or not. So also building in that campaign is, did you know your chamber does? We've not been the best at getting the word out about what our chamber does and how it does it. And it's time for us to change that and really promote and target our local market, our members, and share more of our business information. So that's kind of what I have. I'm going to defer my time back to the group and looking forward to the conversation. You guys have been doing an awesome job and really been enjoying hearing all the other meetings.
Well, good. Thanks, Christian. I appreciate that. We're going to hear from all the panelists, and we'll have a conversation at the end, ask questions, and get some answers from you. Next, we have Debbie Picard from D&O Crane. Debbie, you're a local business owner, employer. You employ some families, quite a few folks there at D&O Crane. Aside from that, you also have served on some some boards here locally. You've always been a big advocate of supporting our local community. So I'm really pleased you took the opportunity today to join us. And I hope you're there, because we can't see you, but I think you're there.
I am here, and I can't see me either. So I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, but thank you for the opportunity to meet with you guys. I really appreciate it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. And we have had some technical difficulties. It's kind of plagued us all day. So hopefully we're going to get it all out of the way today, and tomorrow's going to be smooth. But as it is, we can hear you loud and clear. So thanks for being here.
Okay, well, I can see you guys, so thank you for having me. As you know, D&O Crane has been a local company here for 21 years. We started in 1999, officially up and running. And we are a local taxi crane service, and we do transports, and we do labor. We have 3 different companies that run out of here. We have D&O Crane, D&O Consolidated, and Black Label Equipment. And we run everything out of our Cottonwood office. And we've been expanding for the last 10 years, and it's been a good fit for us here in Cottonwood. Dave is the owner of the company. I am his partner. I came in 13 years ago. And it's a veterans owned. We're very small. There are 22 of us altogether over all 3 companies. D&O Crane has about 12. We're the biggest of the 3. And then we have 5 for D&O Consolidated that work out in Paulden. We work out at the cement plant out there. And then Black Label has 3 or 4 depending. And we do all the transporting of heavy equipment for other companies, for Empire, Road Machinery, stuff like that. We do a lot of work at the mines. We do a lot of MSHA. We do training here for other companies that other contractors who need MSHA, and that is a certification that you need to get onto the mine sites. We do OSHA certification. So we're pretty broad in the services that we provide here at D&O Crane. Mostly all men, a couple of us women here holding strong. And I'm really glad you gave us the opportunity. A couple of things I was thinking of, and I'm glad Christian is on the phone and I can see him as well. You guys do this shop local campaign, which is great. And I love seeing that, and I love shopping local. It'd be really nice if maybe we could broaden that to bring in services and not just products, and maybe have like a fix it local kind of campaign. And sharing of resources, that's really big in our industry. One of the things that we suffer from is getting skilled laborers. We have all of our guys have to be certified to operate a crane. You have to have an NCCO, which is a national certification. If you're in a truck, you have to have your CDL. So there's lots of certifications in order to work, particularly here. And we have a really hard time finding skilled laborers. A lot of them come out of Phoenix, and they're in the union, and it's hard to compete with those wages up here. It'd be really nice to see maybe a resource page where we could share information with other contractors. We work with HVAC companies, truss companies, all of the utility companies here. And it would be really nice if we could have a place that we could not only share. Let's just say someone left us and was looking for another company to work, where we could post that and maybe help them or direct them to another company that could use that skilled labor, because there's so few people up here. So that's really important. I think it's hard to compete with companies that have a product to sell versus a service to sell. I'm not sure if any of you even know who we are. I know Mayor Alinsky knows who we are, because he's used us before, but we've been here a long time, and not to be known in this community, it's hard to get the word out because everything costs money. And you guys know that small businesses have been getting hit left and right, not only due to COVID, which we have such a small employee base. As soon as one person's out, we're scrambling to cover jobs. Imagine having 3 or 4 people out for the same reason. It's very hard to keep a company up and running when you don't have a lot of resources to back you up. So that's huge. The other thing I'd like to see is maybe for some incentives for small businesses that have been here, maybe a loyalty reward program. Or the problem with a lot of the things that were involved in the memberships, everything costs money. And when you're a small company, you just can't afford it. And so you cut. It's like you guys going to get a cup of coffee that costs $7. The first thing you're going to do is cut that out to save money. Same thing with small businesses and marketing. We'd rather rely on word of mouth than have to spend memberships that maybe we're not getting enough out of to justify that cost. You want to say anything, Dave? The owner of the company just walked in. I wanted to see if you wanted to say anything. Let's see. One of the things I'd really like to see, if we can make this happen, is a lot of jobs that we bid up here, we don't hear about till after the fact. And I honestly believe there's no reason we should be bringing in any outside companies when you have a plethora of companies right here locally that can do the work. Nothing's more insulting than seeing a crane sitting over at the school, which is literally 2 miles behind us, and us not having access to bid that job. And you're bringing companies out of Phoenix where we could compete because it literally is in our backyard. So trying to get that information is sometimes tough. It takes a lot of manpower and a lot of hours to find that information. I'm hooked up to all the municipalities around here, and sometimes we still don't get that information. So I would like to see a way where we could together try to get through this really challenging time. We are all about promoting other businesses that we've worked with. We are all about sharing resources or sharing knowledge. We've been here a long time. If someone calls me, I'm pretty sure I can find somebody to help them out. So I would like to see more of that instead of silos of individual industries, maybe coming together somehow to help each other out. And really, that's all I have. And I just want to thank you for the time to allow me to share with you kind of the challenges that we're up against. And maybe having Christian on here is a huge benefit to me because you guys do great work and we appreciate everything that you do. I think sometimes it's just not focused to our industry and we don't always get the benefit of that. So if I can be of any help, I would love to do that. And I really do thank you for your time.
Well, Debbie, thank you for your time too. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. And I think you're just a great example of the businesses that comprise our community. Cottonwood, I say this again and again, but we started out as a free town, supporting some of the mining industry in the area. But we've always been kind of an entrepreneurial community, and we've grown as families owning and operating businesses and supporting one another. And I think your business is a great example of that. So we want to make sure that you're successful, which is why you're here. So anything we can do to help you out, and this has been really good feedback, I think, for all of us. It's good to hear. So thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
All right. And also, Debbie, I also want to say that, aside from just being a business owner, you're also, I believe you serve on the board of the Old Town Mission, I think the Fairground Association as well. So again, another great example of a local business owner that gives back and provides a lot back to our community. So thank you.
I do. Thank you very much.
All right, Mark Tufte, thanks. You're joining us in live flesh. Thanks for being here. Again, you're another great example. I think you've been on our weekly calls really from the start. Your bank has pumped a lot of money that came through with the CARES Act and everything, and the PPP, the amount of money you've been able to bring here to support our local businesses has been tremendous. So thank you. Thanks for being here.
So yeah, my name is Mark Tufte. I'm the branch manager, commercial banker for Foothills Bank here in town. And I just want to start off by thanking you for having me here. I think this is a really great thing that you guys do, where you get to sit down and kind of recap what's going on in the community. From a personal standpoint, I think that the city did a great job of pushing information out there while this COVID was going on. I know that there were several things that I received in that I was able to push out to some of my clients that I felt could benefit from those programs. So I am appreciative of that. Today, I just thought I'd bring up a few things. I reached out to some of my businesses, and so I just wanted to maybe present some opportunities for consideration. But before I get into that, I want to touch on a few things. You know that right now we're in a low rate environment, so that presents an opportunity for businesses that are looking to expand or come to the area. So there's opportunity there that we should be reviewing. The PPP, which is the Payroll Protection Plan, that was a really great program in the sense that there was definitely a time period where everyone was impacted, but unfortunately, it was only roughly 8 weeks of payroll. We haven't been dealing with this just for 2 months. So for some businesses, they've been impacted more than others, such as our restaurant industry. They've done actually pretty well lately, actually. Some of them have experienced record months. But other businesses have been impacted greatly, and the 2 months of payroll hasn't made enough of a difference for them. So just trying to be mindful of that situation and considering how we might be able to help them would be great. That was one of the things that I found as a great resource was the city pushed out about businesses that were like bars or gyms. They had rent assistance that was available, and so I was able to forward that on to some of our local community members. With the opportunities, you've already heard about workforce and affordable housing. I guess the way that I would like to approach that is more of if the city could maybe help create an action force. I think we've spent a lot of years talking about the fact that we know that there's an issue with affordable housing, that there is an issue with workforce. We do a lot of studies. But I think we really need to have an action committee who gets together and says, how do we actually make something happen, as opposed to discussing it, ordering studies, and those types of things. So that would be my first opportunity. The second opportunity is the skilled workforce. It's difficult because in our community, a lot of our younger generation, they go to other communities to get their education. And what is their draw to bring them back? If we could figure out ways to not only provide the educational opportunity, but give them a destination point that's here so that we can retain them, that would be great. At one point, we had a really great program that partnered with the hospital so that they got their nursing degree, and then they knew that they would jump right into the hospital, and the hospital also contributed to something like that. We need to find some of those partnerships. And when I say these things, I don't think this is the city's job per se. I just think that you guys could be a conduit to create these action forces that could help make that happen. The next thing is I think we really need to do a survey. We're living in a very different time than we've ever had before. And so to reach out to the businesses and say, hey, here's 5 questions. Can you give us the answers on that, and use that as a resource for what we could be doing better? I think that's a better option. And when I was talking to some of my clientele, it could go in so many different directions, and I didn't want to come to you and try to hit you with just itsy bitsy things. I felt more of a grander view would be more appropriate for the situation. But I think a survey, just a small, simple survey that can find out what it is that they truly need, I think would be an opportunity. I would really like if we could create a one-stop shop for resource information. We talked about a lot of different things. And you guys have been hearing about a lot of different things. Tanya on the prior panel talked about resources that they offer. We need a way to try to get that information out there. Our local Rotary Club offers a grant for workforce, where if they're going to go learn a skill, we will help fund tools and education for them to get that development. So maybe they want to be a mechanic, maybe they want to be take it another level with being a hairdresser or something like that. We can provide them with some money for education, but allowing that to be put together, I think, would be great. It's really hard if you're an individual that isn't involved in a lot of things to know about all those resources. So if we could find a way to condense that and make that possible, I think that is another opportunity there. I mentioned earlier about youth having some reason to be here. We have a lot of great outdoor opportunities, hiking and then such. But when you want a vibrant community, you need all the levels of demographics. So if you look at a Flagstaff has NAU. So you have a constant influx typically of younger people that go out to eat. They go out and spend money, they're shopping, they're doing things. And as we all know, a dollar spent locally rotates as many as 6 times. So if we can figure out to balance out our demographics, I think that could go a long way for our community. In some regards, you look at it as sources and uses. If we attract X, is that going to be a source for our community or a use for our community of funds? So, so that's an area that I thought could also be in consideration as you guys are planning for the future and thinking of things. The last part is finding ways where, and this is where the city would actually be a part of it, is finding ways for the city to be involved in things. Maybe the CDBG grants can be used to match other grants awarded for small grants. Maybe there's opportunities for, if there is affordable housing, maybe there's a more lenient approach to impact fees or things of that nature. All in all, you know, one thing that Cottonwood has always shown is that it's resilient and has figured out how to make it through. And that's a testament to the city and to yourselves, and very appreciative of that. So that's all I had for me.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you for your time. Brenda Clouston, you are another business owner. Your business is expanding against all odds, against all COVID odds. You just keep charging through. And again, you also give back your the president of the Old Town Association, and I know you do a lot of other work on behalf of your Old Town merchants down there. So thanks for jumping on the call today.
Oh, sure. Hello, everybody. Now, this is such a great idea, and I've enjoyed listening to all these ideas. And it's really helpful just because down here in Old Town, just like everybody else, you know, it is a little bit, I don't want to use over strong of a word, but it's a little dismal down here, and people are really struggling down here in Old Town. But the OTA board is focused and devoted to Old Town, and we are devoted to fostering commerce and camaraderie with other businesses and community. And so this support local and shop local is perfect, coming at a perfect time. So I'd like to just briefly speak, and it's very, very brief, about what our board feels is crucial at this time that will be helpful, along with Christian's ideas. I don't know if many people know, but he's a part of our board as well. And so we're excited to be able to piggyback on what the chamber is going to be doing down here in Old Town too. That's going to be real big for us. Just having that large presence of the Chamber of Commerce and having those boots on the ground and just a physical hospitality presence is going to be very helpful. But we also made a list together as a board of the things that would be helpful. The completion of the monument signs. You know, we've been talking about those signs for so long, and I know that's in the works. But we also we're aware that ADOT has to sign off on some things, and so that needs to happen. But that's going to be big for us. The signs pointing to Old Town and the beautification of those signs as well. There's some planning for decorative benches and planters, that type of thing. That would be extremely helpful and go toward adding some charm and character to Old Town that people will remember and want to come back to. And we love the banners that have gone up. So the completion of those banners and the banners that cross the street, those large banners are great too. And then the Old Town map. So we've been speaking to Tricia about a map of Old Town that visitors can use. So the completion of those items would be very helpful. And then we've received help from the city with social media promotion. and graphics and flyers that we haven't had before. So that's been really helpful on these last events that we've hosted here in Old Town. Despite the pandemic, we wanted to continue to bring people to Old Town and show that we're pushing through all this, and we're going to survive, and we're going to thrive. And that's the attitude that we have down here. And so we've been trying to do that carefully and delicately, but we're really proud of how we've been doing that. And we so appreciate Trisha's help and the city's help with the graphics, flyers, and the music that we've had here in Old Town for our events. The items that I referenced above are a little bit more tangible, but there is something that we feel that would be helpful further for Old Town. There's, the people down here are mostly self-employed, and we find that they are not going to raise their hand and say, I need help down here, because they just don't. They have that entrepreneurial spirit, they have pride. And frankly, the last few weeks that I've been in Old Town handing out flyers and talking with the various businesses individually and personally, they're not readily sharing with me how they're doing. So, and the words are not super positive. I'm not going to say they're all, ready to go under, but obviously there are many, many challenges, and there's a little bit of sadness and a little bit of, just like there is in the rest of the culture. But I think what would go a long way for the Old Town businesses is to really encourage and prompt city employees, and there are so many of them, if they could come down to Old Town and do their shopping in Old Town and maybe just stop by and say hi, see how you're doing, that kind of thing, that would go a long way towards the just the feeling that businesses are having down here. They would feel encouraged and uplifted, I'm sure. We say that we're all in this together, but it's really helpful to demonstrate that. And I, of all people, know how how busy everybody is, and we're all trying to make ends meet. But just remembering that you have to get that birthday gift for someone in your family, or you want to get a bottle of wine for a special occasion, just quick, fast coming down to Old Town to shop and just get that one gift or the item for your animals or whatever the case may be. Just remember Old Town. It was hard enough before the pandemic to get people to remember to come down here from other parts of Cottonwood. So if we could all make a point, all of us who are within the reach of this Zoom call, to come to Old Town and just buy one thing. If everybody just bought one thing, even if it's just a $5, $10 item to keep these businesses going, it would go a long way. Just one item. Since we're in the city's backyard, we would just love to see your faces in the restaurants, tasting rooms, and just walking up and down the street. Like I said, I think it would just be such a moral boost for everybody. We just need a resurgence and a renewal of the attitude that we're going to make it past this, that we're going to persevere no matter what happens. We're going to just keep pushing on. And if we all collectively have that attitude and bring that attitude into the businesses, and that doesn't just mean Old Town, but everywhere. I know it's hard, but we have to stay positive and say positive things and work towards positivity, and then we'll be fine. But anyway, those are the thoughts that we had as a board, and I just thank you so much for letting me share them.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you very much for being here. We're going to go ahead and just kind of open it up for conversation and questions now from council. So council, jump right in.
I like what Debbie had mentioned as far as maybe getting in, promoting the services and that kind of thing. But the other thing she mentioned with, if somebody goes out, there's no bench to pull from. I don't know if it would necessarily go through the chamber or city or whatever other organization, but maybe put together a list of either people who are out of a job or have a certain skill set, and they don't necessarily need a job, but if somebody needs them to cover a shift or something, they have a list of where they could call up and be like, hey, I'm down a bus driver for 2 weeks, and have somebody with that skill set that, again, doesn't want a full-time job, but can step in and cover that time frame. Even if it's just like a shift or, whatever. That way, if, say, COVID hits and you're down 4 or 5 employees, you have somewhere to pull instead of having to close or struggle through it. We've done that with other shops, and like I had a couple of kids out for a while, and I was able to call another shop, hey, I need a tech if you're not slammed. And, we've been back and forth, and it's been awesome.
Good. I hear you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've told a story to many people many times. I don't think I've ever told it to anybody here. And while Mark's here and we're talking about local, just kind of an inspirational story. Mark will remember, I don't know where it was, 11 years ago or so, I first met Mark. I had an idea to make some money, the business model, and I went down to my bank, big multinational bank down the street, and need a little bit of working capital to make this happen. They wouldn't do it. So I go up the street to what was then Country Bank. I sit down with Mark, and I said, Mark, I need a little bit of money. I can go out here and I can make a bunch of money with this. And they said, sure, here you go. And I went out there and did so well. And I came back a little while later. I said, hey, can I double that? He said, yeah, sure, here you go. And so with that local bank and that local bit of capital, I went out, and for 3 or 4 years, I kept a remodel contractor busy, supported his family, title companies, real estate agents. So me, a one-man show, and a little bit of local help from a local bank and community bank, went out there and just had my own little economy going for quite a while. Did very well for myself and helped a lot of places around town. So thank you for that. That's just a great example. And I tell that to a lot of people, just kind of an inspirational story that can be done. But it did very well for a lot of people, and I just love the way that happened. So it's out there.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I think it's, and of course, Mark's a great guy anyway, but but being the manager of a local bank, I mean, I think it's, again, with the Paycheck Protection Program, I mean, you seize that opportunity, you pumped a bunch of money into our economy. How much money did Chase Bank pump into our local economy? I don't know either. I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess not near as much. And my point is that
They're not here to defend themselves.
they're not here to defend themselves. So I'll just say 0, since they're not here.
We can talk about Chase Bank all day.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's and I've been pushing Ron for a lot of since you've been here. I've been pushing staff prior to Ron that's where we have our money, the city of Cottonwood. But it's the local banks that are supporting our local economy, and it's just so critical that we all band together. And I do appreciate, Mark, you said earlier that we are resilient in Cottonwood, and I've been here a while on this council. And I remember the economic downturn, 08. Those were dark times, dark as these days are. But we sure bound together as a community and continue to pump money into the local economy, keep contractors going. And we were able to rebound because of our resilience, because I think, the majority of our folks here have been here a while. They own businesses here. They're absolutely not going to let us fail. And I'm a really big advocate of keeping our money local, keeping our money in local banks, hoping that we're going to make that happen here in Cottonwood as well. Maybe take some of our money, put it in a local bank, because the national banks, they don't have the finger on the pulse of this community the same way that Mark does, and Debbie and Christian and Brenda.
No, he helped me do so well, I don't need to borrow money from his bank anymore. But
That was the downside of that.
I still bank with them, and I tell you, there's nothing better than walking into a bank. And I think the only time I showed my ID is when I opened my first account. I walk in, it's hi, Mike, and I know them and they know me, and it's great. It really is.
And it's those relationships, and we heard it from Mary Shaquin too, that the loans that they've administered through BV Rio, I think they've maybe had to work with one of their lenders to help them kind of navigate these difficult times. But it's those relationships, they work with them, they get trained up through the SBDC, they get a business plan together, we cultivate them, we make sure they're successful. That's what we do. So I'm off my soapbox. Any other questions?
And I don't know if Brenda's still there. I think she knows where my favorite restaurant is.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't hear. That was very nice of you to say.
Yes,
Thank
Ron.
you.
Also for Brenda, that request for employees to be downtown, just so you're aware, you spoke to about 30 city employees just now, so they were all
Awesome.
listening to you, so.
Awesome. That's awesome. Thank you very much. You know, just a little bit of that goes a long way. That was my point. A little bit of visits go a long way.
All right, well, this has been really good feedback. I've heard kind of a few running themes, and I really appreciate you bringing up too the action committee, to actually do things. I know we've certainly talked about a lot of things. Government moves slow, that's certainly one thing, but yeah, we should form a committee to talk about an action committee. I think that, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The resource page, this has come up a lot too, and I think this is really worth looking into. The mentor program, pipeline, working with our educational institutions to help get kids raised up here and immediately put into jobs like at D&O Crane or a local mechanic shop. I mean, these are all things that we've talked a lot about, but yes, sir.
That's a good point, the local partnerships. I want to make sure Debbie knew that Yavapai College does work on a few programs. Our deputy city manager and Bruce, our transit manager, have been working with Yavapai College for a CDL program. So Debbie, we're very close to getting a CDL program through YC. It's probably going to be in Clarkdale. Over there, but at least it's going to be on this side of the mountain through YC. And I know that working with Spectrum, we were trying to get another program going, and Dr. Red is not the chair, the dean over here on this side, and she's a great contact if any of our businesses have a specialized need and want to use our college. I know that she's a great contact as well.
I appreciate that. I did hear there's a CDL program coming, and we are very appreciative of that. And we have offered to help in any way that we can. One thing I did want to mention that Mayor Alinsky just said, failure is not an option for small businesses here. We fight and we fight and we fight, and everybody that's on this call, we do work with. I've known Christian now probably 10 years, and he's been on the Old Town Mission with me. We've done a lot of things together. Mark is our bank. We go to him, and without him, we wouldn't have been able to expand last year, and we wouldn't be able. That PPP loan saved us. I'll be honest, I don't know if we would have made it through without it. And so without Mark's diligence and helping us, I know you guys say he's great because he's sitting right next to you. He can't see me, but I still think he's great. So he's been really helpful, and it is about working together and working with the college and working with everybody. And the Old Town Association, we sponsor a lot of events down there, and we shop down there whenever we can. So it is really about coming together, and there is a way to get through this, and it's definitely not by trying to walk alone. It is walking with each other and helping each other out. And I am a firm believer that we can get a lot farther when we band together. And we don't use the word failure here. We'll be here 10 years from now, and I hope to see everybody else on the same Zoom call.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Debbie. All right. Well, I think that's it for this panel. Again, appreciate all of your time. Look forward to working with you in 2021. It's going to be a better year. I can guarantee it.
Thank you.
We're holding you to it, Mayor Alinsky.
That's all right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Well, council, that's we're a bit early. I don't think anyone minds. It's been a long day.
No, some of us have to go to work now.
Yeah. All right.
8 o'clock tomorrow, we start.